check years ago. Didn't matter to me because it was money I never did see. Now, if I got to pay you, that's a different issue because I get the money, and then I got to give you money after it get in my hand. And I'm like, oh, here you go. Well, if I don't see it. So if you take God's money off the top, this is not my money, and honor God, God will honor you. Berdella?
That is so true. That is so true. We're winding down to about 4 minutes, but what I want to just share, just briefly, is that we need to understand as we pray that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Even the cattle on 1,000 hills, everything belongs to him. So we cannot separate ourselves from anything that God does. He loves us so much. And it is by grace that he's given us that we can even call upon his name, that we can even pray for others as we stand in the gap. I just thank God that he commissioned me with this awesome, awesome, awesome task of getting up every morning. I get up so ready. I get up before my alarm goes off.
That's awesome.
I have never, since we started over a month ago, said, oh, I've got to pray. When you find that you're in a great relationship with the Lord and that you're not doing it for you,
right, he's doing it for
but
him.
You're doing it for other people.
That's
to
right.
Give him the glory.
Yes.
It is so awesome because I don't know sometimes who I'm praying for.
That's true.
And then when I find out somebody got blessed, somebody got healed, something great happened, it's all worth it.
Absolutely.
Every bit of it.
Well, listen,
so join us every
So we are
morning.
out of time, but I want my wife to give you the prayer line number right now. We're going to give you the number,
yes,
and I want you to call that number every Monday through Friday and join us in prayer at 6 a.m. Would you give them the number?
Yes, that prayer line is 1-218-936-0812, and the code is 2254#. You have to hit pound.
Okay, but I'll give that to them again a little slower now.
Okay.
Because sometimes, you know, they get your crayon, chalk, pencil, whatever you
Okay.
need to write with. Okay, so you can copy this number down. We're running out of time.
Okay. I don't think you have to put the 1 in front of it, but it's 218 936
218-936
08
0812.
Code 2254#.
The access code is 2254#. We got to go. This has been a great show.
Yes.
Hey, Journey to Greatness broadcast
bless you
with
all.
Dr. Randall and Berdella Hall Walker. Trust you enjoyed the show. Email us at journeytogreatnessbroadcast@bc.com or go to our website, fwccharlotte.com. Stay tuned next time as we come back to you with Journey to Greatness broadcast with Dr. Randall and Berdella Hall Walker. We got to go for now, but we say to you, we love you, and we wish God's very best to you. Hi, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker. What a joy it has been coming to you by way of television. This is our anniversary year, and we're looking forward to going into the next year with you. However, if the support is not there to continue to keep us on the air, we're going to have to say goodbye. Of course, that'll be a sad, bitter day for us. But I want to encourage you right now to consider supporting the ministry so as we celebrate our anniversary, we can go into a new year with you and continue to come to you by way of television. We trust we've been a blessing to you, and if we've been a blessing to you in any way, I want to encourage you to get your checkbook out and write a check, make it payable to Freedom Worship Center of Charlotte, or you say, I don't write checks. You can go to our website, FWC Charlotte, click on Give, and make a generous gift so we can stay on the air. We're counting on your support. We need your support to continue to do what we're doing. So trust we've been a blessing, and if we have, we need your support. Wishing God's very best to you. Again, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker, and I have enjoyed coming to your living rooms, place of business, and speaking the word of God to you. So love you, and again, wishing God's very best to you. Hi, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker. What a joy it has been coming to you by way of television. This is our anniversary year, And we're looking forward to going into the next year with you. However, if the support is not there to continue to keep us on the air, we're going to have to say goodbye. Of course, that'll be a sad, bitter day for us. But I want to encourage you right now to consider supporting the ministry so as we celebrate our anniversary, we can go into a new year with you and continue to come to you by way of television. We trust we've been a blessing to you. And if we've been a blessing to you in any way, I want to encourage you to get your checkbook out and write a check, make it payable to Freedom Worship Center of Charlotte. Or you say, I don't write checks. You can go to our website, FWC Charlotte, click on Give, and make a generous gift so we can stay on the air. Wow! Hey! Woo! Oh, this is fantastic. All right. Woo! Wonderful. Oh, wow, this is fantastic.
Great, yeah.
Thank you so very much for joining us. I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker. This is my wonderful co-host, Bradella Hall Walker.
Hello.
And we're excited to come to you by way of television and share with you our journey to greatness. We've been married, oh my God, I've quit counting. Over 30 years we've been married. And I tell you what, it has been a great journey. Those who are watching by way of television, we want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Don't turn that dial right now. Call a friend, call a neighbor, call a friend, and tell them I'm watching Journey to Greatness broadcast with Dr. Randall and Bradella Hall Walker, and I'm excited because I've been looking forward to the show. You're watching in Chicago, or you're watching in California, wherever you might be watching, we say hello. I want to give a shout out to my son and my granddaughters in the great city of Orlando, Florida.
Yes.
I love you. Oh, my mom would be upset if I didn't say hello to my wonderful mom in Detroit, Michigan.
Yes.
Annie Walker, we love you, love you. And all of my friends all over the country, I say thank you for joining me on the Dr. Randall and Bradella Hall Walker show. We're excited. We have an awesome, extraordinary, wonderful, amazing program for you today.
Yes.
We're going to be dealing with the strong-willed child. Wow, the strong-willed child. I'll tell you how to deal with him. Beat his butt. No, I'm just kidding. No, strike, cut, edit. No, on a serious note, there is a way to handle strong-willed children, because so often we think the way to handle them is to beat them or punish them, and we never really connect with them. So we're going to give you some ideas, give you some ways how to handle a strong-willed child. Now, we are strong-willed. I'm a strong-willed man. My wonderful wife, she's a strong-willed woman, and this is my sweetheart. Hey, I'd be remiss if I didn't sing my favorite song, My Darling, Darling Baby. My sweet and sexy lady. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm on Christian television. I gotta quit that. Oh my goodness. But I tell you what, this woman has been so extraordinary in my life, and my journey to greatness have been because she has stood with me during my ups and downs, my struggles, my battles, my tests, my trials. She was there for me when everybody else would have just left me and said, I'm done with him. As a matter of fact, when we first got married, people had to know to talk her out of marrying me. I don't know what was wrong with them. They were demon-possessed or something. I don't know. No, not really. But the fact was, I had issues. I had problems. You know, I grew up in the street of Detroit, and I was going for bad, thought I was tough, thought I was God's gift to man, and just a real rebel. And no doubt about it. But God delivered me, set me free, and I'm just so grateful and honor the Lord for delivering me and setting me free, giving me a new mind, a new heart, new direction, and new purpose, new goal. I'm a brand new man. No doubt about it. No question in my mind. But being a brand new man, I had to grow and develop, and there were things I had to learn. There were things I had to work out. And being a strong-willed person, because I was a strong-willed kid, then I was a strong-willed adult, and being in that way, there were so many things that I had to learn because I was very dogmatic, very arrogant, very cocky, very haughty, and those were things that I had to work out that didn't just disappear overnight. I had to retrain my thinking, refocus my emotions. I had to do some mental adjustment. I had to get a vision for what's possible. It was just, I had to get a total makeover, no question about it. I had to get a new personality. I had to find my gifts, my talents, and it was just great because my gifting took me places that my character wouldn't keep me, and my personality took me places that my character wouldn't keep me. And so I had to work on my character as a person. Because if you can have a strong character and your personality won't keep you. Or you can have a strong character and your personality won't keep you, and vice versa, in other words, what I'm saying. So there is an art to moving into your greatness and becoming extraordinary and mastering you. I tell you what, that's the one thing that I enjoy today, that I have took authority in my life. I take charge in my life. I run my life. I don't let things and circumstances and situations control me, dominate me, and run me and call shots. I'm my own man, and I thank God for it. But that was a process. That was allowing Jesus to be my mentor. That was allowing him to guide me. That was trusting the Jesus. That was relying upon Jesus. That was getting the mind of Christ, letting this mind be in me, which was also in Christ Jesus, and beginning to think like God, act like God, talk like God, walk like God, do everything like God. And no, I wasn't perfect all the time. And I'm not going to, I'm the human side, and there's a great joy in being human. You know, I enjoy, it's so great to just be a human being, because you're capable of error. You're capable of making a mistake. You're capable of messing up. That's not a time to beat yourself up because you make a mistake. That's not a time to just give up on life, throw in the towel, say, I'm going to kill myself. I don't want to live no more because you messed up. You might have got pregnant without a husband, or you might have did some things, made some mistakes in life. That is not a time to beat yourself up. That's a time to learn from your mistakes and embrace who you are and get present to where you are, but just know where you're going. So that's what I did. I got present to my circumstances and where I was at. And I said, I am going to do something with my life. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I'm sick and tired of being tired and sick. And I said, enough is enough. I'm through. I'm done. I can't do this lifestyle no more. I can't do it. And I reached out to the Lord Jesus Christ, and he forgave me, gave me a new slate, wiped my slate clean, gave me a new beginning, and then gave me a darling, darling baby. Gave me my sweetest sexy lady. And that's all I needed. You know what the scripture says? It's not good for man to be alone. I got that totally. Amen. I understand that. God sent me an extraordinary, wonderful wife that stood with me and helped me through my journey to greatness. And I'm here coming to you by way of television to share my story, because God has been so great to me. I was shot in the head and left for dead in the streets of Detroit. My life was almost over. But God had his hand upon me because he had a purpose. And I heard someone say that you got to spend your life finding your purpose. In life, finding your purpose should be your purpose in finding your purpose. And so I found my purpose, and my purpose is to come to you by way of television and share with you that you can succeed, you can make it, that your greatness is within you. There's inside of you, there's a genius, there's an extraordinary human being. There's a person that have creativity and co-creative power with God, and you can do all things through Christ who will strengthen you. I know what I'm talking about. It's too late to, listen. Studio audience, I'm telling you, and you were watching by way of television, I'm telling you, it's too late to change my mind. I'm telling you, I'm sold out. I know what God is able to do. I know what God is, with God, all things are possible. I know I can do all things through him that strengthened me. I know I'm the head and not the tail. I know that my God will supply all my need according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. I know that I'm more than a conqueror through him. I'm telling you what, I am fully empowered and engaged in who I am. And I live life powerfully, I live life on purpose, and I live life intentional. But now that, as a result of being a strong-willed child, one that Dad would say, you can't go there. I want to know why I can't go. I want to go. You need to stay in the house. Why? Why do I need to stay in the house? Why can't I do what I want to do? So I've always been the type of person that felt like I could do what I want to do. It's my prerogative. No, I'm just teasing. You can't do what you want to do. That's what gets you in trouble. Wanting to do. I didn't realize that I needed a mentor at the time. I didn't realize that I was one of those energetic kids that was excited and ignited, enthused and infused. But I just needed direction. I just needed someone to mentor me, to guide me, to direct me. And I was so rebellious. You know, one of the worst things you can do is develop a spirit of rebellion. But I had the spirit of rebellion. If you told me to go right, I'm going left. If you told me to go up, I'm going down. I just didn't want to do what anybody tell me. I was a strong-willed child. And I learned something, because one of the things that cost me almost a lifetime of misery, I disobeyed my parents. I ended up, and I ruined my life, no question about it. I'm telling you what, the decisions that I made, I ruined my life. Because I didn't want them telling me what to do. I didn't want them calling any shots in my life. I wanted to be the individual me. I wanted to find and discover myself. I didn't realize that that's a good thing, but you just gotta be looking for the right thing, because you will find something that you don't want to find. Right. And so I began to search, and I had this quest for trying to find the answers to life. I wanted to know why I was created. I was always wanting to know, why am I on this earth? What's my purpose? You know, why am I here? And I had to learn that my purpose for life, that God created me to worship him. I said, wow, you mean to say that's why I'm here? Yes, and to conform into the image of him, to be like God, to favor God, to know God, to be in relationship with God. That's my purpose. And when I found my purpose, it was no stopping me now. Ain't no stopping me now. I'm on the move. Yes. That's what happens when you understand your purpose. And so many people never find their purpose, especially a strong-willed person, because they're so busy finding all the other things that attracts them, and they never find themselves. So many people, the graveyard is full of folk who died, never understanding who they were, the difference that they were supposed to make, the assignments that they were supposed to accomplish, and the things that they were supposed to get done. They never got that done because they were hoodwinked, bamboozled, deceived, and tricked by the enemy. They sold them a dream that wasn't a reality. That's right. But Jesus would never do that. Once you connect with him, he'll guide your steps, he'll direct you, and even though you're a strong-willed person, you can take a licking and keep on ticking, but you'll keep on going no matter what you face. You'll be like that energized bunny. You just keep going and going and going, and nothing will stop you. You are unstoppable with the anointing of God. The anointed one and his anointing flowing in you, you're unstoppable. I'm telling you, the sky's the limit of what you can accomplish. So as a result of being rebellious and rebelling in life and doing my own thing, I had a 10-year run out there in the streets that literally almost took my life. It was really a sad situation, because I was stuck like Chuck. No reflection on Chuck. No reflection on you, Chuck. But I was stuck, and I couldn't get out. I mean, I was bound. I was tied up, and I learned that I had to master me. And I found what the scripture says when it says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. I understand how demon powers can trick you and enslave you and empower you. They can. Yeah, and you're a puppet. They controlling you. I was a puppet. I could not believe that. You know, confession is good for the soul but bad for the reputation. I was a puppet. I mean, the enemy had me, go here, go there, go do that. Go. I said, go do it. Yes, I'll go do it. And go listening to the enemy, listening to the voice in my head and doing things. And the word of God says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Because my parents, as a strong-willed son, they were telling me not to do things that I didn't pay them no attention. I'm going to do it. And that was the worst thing. Tell me not to do something, that's the worst thing you can do. You should just tell me, go rob folk, just go rob them. And then I probably won't do nothing. But you say, don't do it. I'm like, oh, why not? I'm going to do, you know, that kind of thing. It's amazing how our minds work. It's amazing. You know, it's like you dare to do wrong. You know, when people tell you don't do it, then it's like, I'm going to do it because you told me don't do it. And the scripture says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Why is that? Why does the scripture say that? Here's the reason why. It says that rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft because authority is really great. Listen, you who are watching by way of television, make sure you have a pastor. Make sure you're under authority. There's power in being under authority because that authority is a covering. It's a protection for you. And parents are your covering. They're your protection. And as long as you obey them, you're covered. But when you get from up under authority, you expose yourself to demon powers and devils that's guaranteed to be too strong for you to handle. And before you know it, you're trapped because you rebel. You're not covered. You're not protected. Boy, listen, I would tell anybody, don't ever leave a church until you have a church. Don't ever leave a church. Don't ever leave a church till you have a church, because you need that spiritual covering. You get from up under that church, go out there and say, well, I'm just going to hang out until God leads me. The devil could lead you, and next thing you know, you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, tricked, and deceived, and find yourself in a situation. We had a pastor friend of mine, bless his heart, gone. He's left us, unfortunately, and I won't go into the details of that because it's still sore in my spirit. But all I can tell you is rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. And when you rebel, you expose yourself. See, you expose yourself to demon powers that you're not going to have enough power to overcome them. Those demons going to have a field day with you. Those demons going to take control. Those demons going to dominate. And you got no recourse because you out of the will of God. God ain't backing that rebellion. God is not standing with that rebellion. When you out there with the demons and the devils, then they can do what they want to do to you, because that's why the scripture says that rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, because you out there with demons and devils, you out there with the demonic forces, you out there with satanic spirits, and they're calling the shots, and you are their puppet. And they just telling you what to do. But the moment you come to yourself, like the prodigal son, I love that story. Just an awesome story. The prodigal son, the scripture says that he came to himself. My God, what a revelation. If we could every day just get present to coming to ourselves, shaking ourselves, you know, coming to ourselves, we can't get tricked by what demons and devils want to do. But a strong will. You parents, I want to encourage you, don't try. And I know some of you, your methods and your techniques, you say, I tried everything. But the best way you can work with that strong-willed child is to love the hell out of them. And when I say love them, I mean don't fight against them. Befriend them and teach them and train them and tell them why. Don't just tell them because I said so. You can't do it. Because I said so. I'm your daddy, and that's your mama, and what we say go. And when you don't want to do what we say, hit the door. You know, you don't want to tell them that. Yeah. Or definitely you don't want to tell them, I'm going to, look, you do it again, I'm going to kill you before the police does. Wow. You don't want to tell your kids things like that. But that's things that we say that we think we're being effective. When you have a strong-willed child, that's the time to befriend them and steer them and mentor them in the right direction, because they have a will. And let me tell you something, you're not going to break their will. The only thing you can do is direct their will, because you're not going to break them. You may try to break them. You can do all the sorts of things. You can punish them, beat them. I know my mom, she thought punishing me was going to be the key. And she said, you can't watch TV for a week. Yeah, can't watch TV for a week. I go in the room after school. How many more days I got? You got 3 more days, thank you. How many more days I got? 2 more, thank you. How many more days you got? 1 more. Oh, great, thank you. How many days your punishment's out? Oh, thank you, okay. No big deal. Hey, I can take it. Because I'm a strong-willed person. I can take punishment. I can take, you know, what happens, because I'm a strong-willed person. That wasn't going to work with me. But of course, they thought that that was the key because somebody educated them, punished them. Because they tried to beat the hell out of me. That didn't work. Did not work. No, I'm tough. Do you know who you talking to? This is Random Man. Okay? So that wasn't going to help me. But that's from a young man's perspective. Now, my darling sweetheart, she's a very strong-willed woman, and she was a strong-willed child. So I want, from her perspective, to share with the rest, and then we're going to come and pray with you in just a short. But I want her to share about the strong-willed young lady. Give her a big hand. Padilla Hall Walker.
Thank you so much. I've sat and I've listened to my husband sharing about him and how the strong-willed child grows up to become, which is what happened to him. What I want to say about the strong-willed child is they are amazing. And looking at it in hindsight, even at myself and other young children, is if the parent would just keep that same mentality, that same passion, that same love they had for the child when they were carrying them in their arms, that they have when the child began to walk, and they see how that child is. If you would sit there and watch them, they are amazing characters. These are children who have their own mind. They think a certain way. They're very analytical. They are why kids. Why do we have to do this? And why do we have to do that? And I recall when I was younger, we watched television on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But we couldn't watch TV on Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that just didn't make sense to me. So I went to my dad and I said to him, why can't we watch TV on Sundays and Wednesdays and Friday? And my dad said, because you're saved. So I said, okay, and I walked away and I went, what? So I turned around and I came back and I said to him, and at that time, because, you know, we were of that strict family, so we called him Father. I said, Father, can I ask you this question? And he says, yeah. I said, okay, if I'm saved on Sunday and Wednesday and Friday, then what am I on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday? So either I'm saved all the time or I'm not saved at all. My dad looked at me, and he went in his room and he shut the door, and all I could imagine was that belt that was hanging behind the door. It was coming out at me. I just knew it. But instead of that, he came out with his coat and his hat on. He said, let's go for a ride. I said, he's going to kill me. They're not going to find my body. I just know this is what's going to happen. My dad's just going to kill me. So we sat in the car. He never looked at me as he drove the whole time, and I sat there. And I'm like, where are we going? Next thing I know, we were going to the church. That meant I was going to see the pastor. So he took me in to see the pastor, but he went in to see the pastor, and I could hear him saying, of all my children, she doesn't give me any problems. She asks questions that I cannot answer. He said, she's a rare breed. That's what she is. I can remember hearing my dad say that. So when they finished, I could hear them praying, and he came back out, and we got back in the car, and we're heading home. I said, well, I haven't reached my destination. He still could kill me. So I don't know what he's going to do. So we get home, and when we did, from that moment on, we could watch TV every day. What was it?
Wow.
What was it that happened? A question was asked my dad that was never asked before.
Wow, that's good.
These are children that are in school that parents, teachers don't know how to handle. If they could just see them as a strong-willed child, most of those kids are not set and designed for classroom settings.
Wow.
These kids are very intelligent. They're very analytical. These are kids that see our other son, Donnie.
Yes.
Donnie's the same way. Donnie will go to school, get in trouble all the time because he tore computers apart.
Right.
But he could put them back together.
That's right.
And today he owns his own computer business.
That's right.
My son was the same way. My son could draw. He could do anything he wanted, and they would still have a problem with him because his questions was why? Why do we have to do that? They wanted to advance him in class and all those things. These are kids that are so amazing. Not that the other children aren't, but there are some that advance faster than others. Strong-willed kids advance much faster than other kids do because they have it's it's like a sixth sense inside of them that they use, or they're using all of their five senses, and it's helping them to advance in business. But I guarantee you that everyone who owns their own business, including our President Trump, he definitely was a strong-willed child. You could tell just the way he is now.
Right.
You can tell those who were strong-willed children. They're the ones who are successful. Our former President Obama all the presidents, I believe, were strong-willed because they're looking at the nation, they're looking at the country, they're looking at people and saying, why is it this way? What can I do to fix it?
Wow, this is so good. So
people like you and people like myself are placed in positions, I believe, spiritually, strategically, that we can help make a difference in this world. So parents, look at your children. As beautiful as they were on your lap, who couldn't speak, and now they can, and you're trying to shut them up.
Wow.
Don't look at them that way. Hear what they're saying. Hear what they're telling you. These children are not just being rebellious. These are just interesting children. If you go to a restaurant and you order something, why did they fix it like that? Look at the child and look at what they fixed. They may have seen something you didn't. So really acknowledge them for who they are.
Wow.
Love them through. Instead of just saying, don't do that, tell them why you don't want them to do it. I remember we would stand up on a chair, and then we were told, get down off that chair. If we didn't get down, we got a spanking. So when I had my son, he would stand up on a chair. I would say, son, don't stand up on that chair. You may fall. All of a sudden, this light bulb went off in my head, honey, and I said, why didn't our parents tell us that? Could have saved me some scars.
Right. Well, listen, this has been awesome. Next week, we're going to pick up. We're going to pick up next week. We're going to pick up next week with my wonderful wife. She's going to open up. We're out of time. As a matter of fact, we've gone over just a few. But this has been great. This has been wonderful. Want to thank our wonderful studio audience for being with us. We're so grateful for you. Yes, thank you so very much. And I want to say to you, those who are watching by way of television, we pray for your strong-willed children right now in Jesus' name, and we wish God's very best to you. Again, I'm Dr. Randall and Berdella Hall Walker, and we wish God's very best to you. Hi, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker. What a joy it has been coming to you by way of television. This is our anniversary year, and we're looking forward to going into the next year with you. However, if the support is not there to continue to keep us on the air, we're going to have to say goodbye. Of course, that'll be a sad, bitter day for us. But I want to encourage you right now to consider supporting the ministry so as we celebrate our anniversary, we can go into a new year with you and continue to come to you by way of television. We trust we've been a blessing to you, and if we've been a blessing to you in any way, I want to encourage you to get your checkbook out and write a check. Make it payable to Freedom Worship Center of Charlotte, or you say, I don't write checks. You can go to our website, FWC Charlotte, click on Give, and make a generous gift so we can stay on the air. We're counting on your support. We need your support to continue to do what we're doing. So trust we've been a blessing, and if we have, we need your support. Wishing God's very best to you. Again, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker, and I have enjoyed coming to your living rooms, place of business, and speaking the word of God to you. So love you, and again, wishing God's very best to you. Fantastic. What a joy it is to come to you by way of television. I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker, and this is now Dr. Berdella Hall Walker. Give it up for her. Wonderful. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We're We're excited to come to your living room, place of business, and share with you Marriage Today with Dr. Randall and Bradella Hall Walker. What a joy it is. And we have an awesome show prepared for you. You're not going to believe this show. This one is incredible. This is the top 10. You know how you have the top 10 baseball players, the top 10 basketball players, the top 10 hits, the top 10 this and the top 10 this? That we have today the top 10 questions that you asked on the first date.
Wow.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is awesome.
Yes.
I like that.
The first date.
I like
And we
that.
got to go quickly because we only have about 30 minutes, so we're going to have to go quickly with these. This is a survey that we did, and we got individuals to give us some feedback as to what would they ask, what questions would they ask on their first date. You know, that's a time where a meet and greet and to get to know the person and find out, hey, is there a future here? You got to know the, you know, so often we think having all the right answers is the key. No, let me give you some news today. It's not having all the right answers. It's asking the right questions. That's very important.
That's good.
You must answer, ask the right questions. And you know what? You got to ask the hard questions. You know, so often, you know, we start sweating, you know, to ask the, you know, I remember when I asked my wife to marry me over 34 years ago. When I asked her to marry me, I would never forget. I was sweating bullets. My goodness. I was like, wow, it was rough. I asked a tough question. But guess what? I got a great answer. But listen, we're going to have to go quickly. But I want to give a shout out to all of my dear friends in Detroit, Michigan. Hey, hometown, Motor City. God bless you. Give it up for me. And my wife's hometown, Chicago. Hey, Chi-Town. And our friends out there in California, don't leave them out. Boy, they be mad at us. Yes. Last but not least, my wonderful grandkids and grandson is there in the great state of Florida. As a matter of fact, give them a big shout out. Call their names out.
All right. Roger, David Smith, Nakiba, Alyssa, Brianna, and Nia.
Yes. Hey, grandma, I love you. We're coming there. We'll be in Florida soon. We got to see you, so we're excited. But listen, here's what the survey came up with. The top 10 questions to ask while dating. Now listen to this. The first one is to ask them how many sexual partners have they been involved with. First date. First date. Now that's going to take some nerve. I don't know if I could do that personally. I don't know if I could do that. But that was the survey that came in. You know, if it was a Family Feud question, this was one of them, the answer. So what do you think about asking them? Isn't that a little personal or what?
I think it is personal. It depends on how long the date is going to be. If it's going to be over an hour, that question could probably come up.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the relationship of the dinner engagement or wherever they are, it could probably peak out just based on how the response is, whether it's the male or whether it's a female. And that is where it can come. It depends if, let me put it this way, being a female, if the male appears to be a little bit, let me use the word juicy, or he's ready on his first date, then I think that if I were the female and he was saying, well, come back to my apartment, why don't we do this? He's had 2 or 3 drinks. Then to me, I would probably ask the question because it looks like I'm being taken easy.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, what do you do? I mean, do you always ask the woman to come to your apartment the first day? And
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if they answer, say it's the male, and he said, I had so many, I can't even count.
Well, that would be the time I would take my person and say I'm going to the ladies' room and powder my nose.
Now, but what if the woman surprised you, or the man surprised you and say, I'm a virgin. I've never had sexual intercourse. Where would that put the person that perhaps have been involved? Hopefully, both of them will say, you too?
But generally, that's not the case, especially in today's society.
If she says that, then he will have to evaluate himself. How much respect does he have for her? And not only how much respect he has for her, but how does he respect himself?
Right, that's good.
His own value, his own worth. What do you think now of this wonderful woman who has just told you, I'm here for a date, but I'm not ready for what you may want to lay out? And so he's going to have to make a decision, not based on her, where he will coerce her, but based on where he is as far as his own man.
And you know, a lot of times, if a person has been involved in previous relationships, the man, especially from a man's point of view, they have a difficult time trusting a woman that has had multiple partners, because they say, wow, she's easy. And so they would have reservations about a long term. They may want to hit it and go, because they say, well, man, I don't know about her. She's been with Tom, Dick, Harry, you know, man. So see, the great thing about that I love about my marriage, I've been married, like I said, 34 years. And the thing, I never kissed this woman until we got married. And the reason why is because I was a fleshly guy. And I didn't want to fail God. I mean, I was sold out to the kingdom. When I first got saved, wow, God delivered me, set me free. I was excited, ignited, enthused, and infused. I was anointed and appointed, traveling as an itinerary preacher, going around the country, sharing my story, and the girls was on me. Yeah. And
Yes, they were.
And I was weak. And my flesh. And so I was failing God, you know, and so I said, I can't do this. You know, I'm a straight person. I can't do this. I can't be out there fornicating around there, getting up talking about Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior of my life, and committing, living in sin. I wasn't that kind of guy. So it would always just really tear me apart. So I wanted a sacred marriage. I wanted a marriage that was ordained of God. I wanted a pure marriage. I wanted the bed undefiled. I mean, I wanted scripture, biblical way of doing it. Amen. I wanted that, and I got it. I got it. God blessed me with this awesome, extraordinary, powerful woman of God. Let's give it up for Dr. Berdella Hall Walker. So, but anyway, we're going to have to move along, but I want you to think about that question. You know, when you think about that, the second question, because we got so many. Here's a big one, too. Have you been HIV tested? Ooh, to ask them, have you been HIV tested? Could you ask, I mean, of course, HIV wasn't prevalent in our days when we got married. I mean, it's out of control now. You know, you got HIV? You got HIV? Yeah, I got it. Man, you HIV? Yeah, I'm HIV. You too? Yeah. And then you got to see it's a whole lot of them that's HIV positive today, because it is spread rapidly. But in our day, we didn't have that tough question to ask. But today, would you be able to ask, say we met, let's go back in time. Okay, we're sitting at Buckingham Fountain, we're having a conversation. I'm about ready to pop the question. You know, the atmosphere is set. And then you say, excuse me, can I ask you a question? And I say, sure. Could you ask me, have you been HIV tested? Could you do that?
Not at that moment. It would go back to question number one. If he says he's had multiple partners or she has or whatever, then that question would be relevant. But if you're getting ready to ask me to marry you, and we need time to sit down and talk, all of that should come out in our conversation one way or the other. Now, with you and I, it was a little different because of the way we met, the way we got married. Other people date a year or two, and so within that time, there's more of a relaxation and then more of a familiarization with each other, and they're more comfortable.
Right.
So in that type of a setting where you've been together for a while, or 2 months or 3 months, then yeah, that question need to come out.
Yeah.
I was understanding in one of the cities, I won't even name the city, that it says 70% of the people there, females, I think it said females, I don't want to be wrong, but male or female, 70% of them has been tested HIV positive. Now, who would want to go to a city for a potential husband or potential wife when you hear those statistics?
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
So,
That's alarming. That is alarming. But these are the tough questions, you know, that we have to ask. You know, it was asked me a question years ago. They asked me, when is it right, or when is the proper or the right time to date? I mean, age-wise, or when should you date? And my answer to that person was, you can date when you understand and know the danger of dating.
wow.
That's when you know it's time for you to date, when you understand the danger, because one bad choice or one heated moment can cost you a lifetime of misery. I know firsthand.
And you have to ask yourself the question, this person that I'm dating, what is the reason why I'm dating them? Right. Am I dating them for a long-term relationship which will lead to marriage? Or am I just dating somebody because I need to have fun or want to have fun?
Right.
Or use their monies or have them do certain things with me? Am I dating for longevity? Am I dating just to get over? All these questions can come up, but you need to be honest in your reasoning for dating.
Right, exactly. That's right, because is it just to have a social activity, to get to know one another? Should you go on a date by yourself, or should it be couples, you know, to protect yourself? Because all of us know the flesh can just easily, and then you don't know what's, you know, in the mindset of that person that you're dating, you know, what's on their mind. You know, they could have an ulterior motive that is just not to get together for fellowship or just to get together, have dinner, but they got in the back of their mind, I'm getting that. I'm getting that. And with that, then a lot of times that's how rape cases have taken place, because they done put it all in their mind. I spent my money and, you know, all this dinner and a movie, and then you're going to say no? Oh, no. And a lot of rape cases has happened because in their mind they had these preconceived idea of what they had, an agenda, and it didn't work out like they wanted.
Right. You've got these online dating services now that are set up, I think, potentially for the good, but a lot of it has turned out to really be dangerous, where people are meeting, older guys are meeting younger girls, they're lying about their ages. Then you have on one site, and I won't name that site either, there was an actual serial killer who was dating these girls and killing them. And they finally got a hold of him after the 7th girl, I think it was.
Wow.
They finally figured him out. So you have to be careful. I want to say this to ladies as well as to gentlemen and those watching. Don't be that desperate to date.
Right.
Because I know that I don't want to get super spiritual, and I know that it doesn't say dating in the Bible. It doesn't say anything about that, and there's nothing wrong with dating. It says a man who findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
That's right.
But women are now going out and engaging guys. They're twisting everything that the Word of God is saying. They're going out searching for the man. They're searching for the man with the padded pocket. They're
gold diggers.
Searching for the man with the high-end jobs. They're looking for the Armani suits, and they're going after what they can get. So just be careful with your mindset. What is it that you're really doing, and why you're doing what you're doing, and be safe is what I can say.
That's very good. Yes, that is very, very good. So we have to put some precaution on ourselves, and you know, the thing is that I think is very important, that when you go out on a date, that you respect each other. That's going to be key. You're going to have to respect one another, and don't come up with all of these rationales and excuses as to, you know, why things should be like this or why they should be like that, and begin to force yourself on the person that you're dating. Respect one another, and I think that will give for a longevity relationship. And I want to suggest that the date for at least a year, you know, date for a year, because you can go full cycle with that person during the different holidays. You can know how they think, what their actions are during Christmas and Thanksgiving, their birthday, and all those different holidays. Because I remember when we first got married, we didn't have a Christmas together, and it was Christmas time, and I'm ready to go home see Mama, because every year I go home to see my mama, right? And she's like, "What?" Dr. Berdella Hall Walker was like, "Where you going?" "I'm going to see Mama." "Oh, no, you ain't," you know. Okay.
It wasn't exactly like that, but it was.
Yeah. But see, if we had dated for a year, she would have known, and we would have got that squared away. We wouldn't have had that knockout, drag out, so to speak, about it. But here's what I think will help you, not only you who are dating and different things, the date for a year to go full cycle, but I think it's always good to meet your partner, to be introduced by someone, a friend of yours. It's better, like you were talking about this online dating and everything, strangers, and next thing you know, you got a serial killer, you got somebody that's you know, devious and different things. You know, if they're friends of your friends or someone, let them introduce you. You know, let them say, "Hey, you know, I got a friend that I want to introduce you to, a nice young man or a nice young lady." And I think you guys, and nothing like a couple getting together and being introduced by a friend. And that gives you safety. And that'll put you in a safety net. So that's just some of my advice that I want to give. Okay, boy, we're running behind schedule here. We're going to have to pick up a little bit. Here's the third one. Okay, we're talking about the top, you who are just joining us for the first time, we're talking about the top 10 questions to ask while dating. Here's the number 3 big one. Is there any mental illness in your family? Yes. Is there any nuts in your No, this is very important to know, because the bloodline, listen, see, when you marry, you think when you're dating and it turns into a potential marriage, then you marry into that family, and that bloodline of that family connects with you. And when you're having sexual intercourse and consummate the marriage, if there's some history there of mental illness, then you're putting yourself in jeopardy of producing a mentally ill child or different things. Now, I'm sure somewhere all of us may have a little mental illness in our family. I'm not talking about, you know, rare cases. I'm talking about a history. You know, I mean, all of them cuckoo, you know, so to speak. You know, you want to be very, very careful, you know, because it may skipped over one, and that's good. The one you got is skipped over. But will it catch up with your kids? These are things these are tough questions to ask on while you're dating. But these are things that you need to make a well-informed decision when you're getting ready to choose the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life. And you might as well cut it off from the beginning. I mean, if it's not working right from the get, you know, like y'all out dating, and then you notice that he's mean or she's arrogant, or you know she's a gold digger and trying to get into your pocket and get your money and everything, run, bruh, get going. You know, don't wait around, try to test the waters, you know, and then you don't give her any money, then she clip you and take it all, and then you say, man, I could have had, you know, she got you, hit you for a lick. So what I'm encouraging you is to watch the signs. When you go out dating, that's the time to have your eyes open. That's the time to listen and hear and discern and make sure this is someone that you like to spend the rest of your life with. Well, what do you think about that?
Well, I think, first of all, I love the fact that our show is unedited. Therefore, what you hear is what you get.
That's right.
What I think the only way you're going to find out whether there is something, if it surpasses the date that you're on, is meeting the family. Have the partner invite you to family reunions. Go to dinners together. Find just to enjoy. You're not poking around, but if this is what you desire, then you need to know what you're marrying into. Even just dating, what are you dating into? there's a lot of people, whether male or female, that are psychopaths.
Right.
They look good on the outside. They can be very handsome. Look at Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Look at how he had that
Charisma. Yeah.
Yet at the same time, he was a serial killer.
Everything that shines and glitters not gold.
So you should be able, see, if we would stop women, let me share this with you, if we would stop getting flipped out over looks and muscles, then we would be able to see beyond all of that and see what's really going on. But what we do is we look at good looks, we look at a walk, we look at hands, we look at feet, we look at hair, we look at eyes, we look at all of these things instead of looking inside in the spirit realm of that person, so that we can at least, on your first date, you should be able to pick up something. You can't hide everything.
That's right.
If I'm there with you more than an hour, usually when you go to a restaurant, you're there more than an hour, something's going to show. It'll show even in the receipt that they may get back they know good and well that you spent $80-something and now you want to flip out on the waitress or the server, and so that would be my first sign. Or just she may start acting out. I ordered this drink and I don't know why they won't get. If I was the man, I would go, oh. If the man is saying, I demand this, blah, blah, uh-oh. So you can tell usually if we get past all this good look thing, women, if men can get past the woman looking all beautiful and everything and see things the way they really are, if you're there more than an hour or close to an hour, the real you is going to stand up. And that is the first time. Don't get past it. Don't say, well, it just was the heat of the moment. No, they do this all the time. You just happen to get caught up in it. And so don't think that people, if I know you, or you're talking about respecting one another, if I'm respecting you and I got good sense, you're never going to see that side of me because it's not there. But if that's with me, it's going to go ahead and get married, and you're going to see a whole lot more.
Right, that's good. That's
Okay.
good.
Yes, a whole lot more.
All right. Okay, the fourth one. And I think we're going to only be able to get to 5, and then we're going to have to pick up
That'd be fine.
next week, right back here next week. But here's the number 4. Ask them, here's a tough question. Have you ever been married before? While you're out on a date, you have to ask that question, because if they've been married before, something went sour. And you want to make sure that that's resolved in their life, because most people have issues from the first relationship and they take it to the second while they're dating, and they say that this woman is not going to dominate me, or this man not going to call shots on me, I'm not going to be manipulated, I'm not going to be down. And they have these walls up. And they put these walls up, and you can't get past them, and you don't know what's wrong because they haven't dealt with the previous relationship, the previous issues. And so many people have been married over and over and over and over again, and they're on their 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th marriage because they never dealt with the issue of the first marriage. They kept taking that baggage into the next marriage and to the next marriage because they never dealt with it. So you got to ask them. And then once they answer, say, yes, I've been married, for God's sake, ask them what went wrong.
Yeah, and I agree. I think, to me, that's the easiest question, especially when you're adults. I mean, not children, younger people who are 20, 21, usually they haven't been married. This is their first time. But when you get into your 30s, 35 and 40, you've been, usually you've been married. And so that, to me, would be a very easy question. On a date, have you been married before? That would be one of the questions that wouldn't even faze me to ask. Have you been married? I didn't. Yeah, we did that. Have you been married? But you say, yes, I was. And what happened? And we started talking about it, and then you asked me, and I said yes, and I told you what happened. And I also said, and if we are honest with one another, I still have some baggage from it, but if you could walk me through it, or walk with me through it, we can get through it. And he had to trust that I wasn't crazy, I wasn't a Looney Tune, but that I knew that I had some baggage. And one of the things that will be another red flag is if you say, yeah, I've been married before, but their fault. They did this and they did this, and you never did anything
you didn't do
wrong.
nothing wrong.
Now, red flag. We all do something wrong. We either didn't pay attention, or we didn't pay attention. You follow what I'm saying? I didn't pay attention to what was going wrong, or I didn't pay attention to you. So something in there, I played a role in it somewhere.
That's great. Wonderful. Well, the last question, boy, I hope we get to this. I think we got a few more minutes before we wrap it up. But the last one we're going to do today, and we'll pick up the other 5 next week. The last one we're going to talk about today is the simple fact of what do you like to do in your spare time? To ask them the question, what do you like to do? And it's very important that you know their hobbies or what they like to do. If they say, I don't like to do nothing, run. Okay. Okay.
Or if they don't like to do anything, ask why.
Right.
Because you may have such great interest in things like reading or horseback riding or traveling or whatever, that the only reason why they don't like to do anything is because you don't know why. They've never experienced anything. And so you might be, it may be fun.
Well, I mean, my point is this, though. If they don't like to do anything, they don't have any hobbies, they don't like to go to the movies, they don't like to go bowling, they don't like to go out with friends. I mean, you got to have something, a hot button. You know, they got to have a hot button. And if they don't have a hot button, boy, you're going to be in trouble, because when times that you need to get together and just enjoy one another, and you suggest, well, let's go bowling, let's go ice skating. You know, there's got to be numerous of things that a person, you know, but if they say nothing, then that's a boring person. And what's going to happen is you're going to get with them and be at the house, and you're going to be bored to death, okay? All right, so just get heads up. Ask the right questions. Let me tell you something. Ask the right questions, because you need answers. It's not knowing all the answers. It's asking the right questions, because you need to know about this person. Because if you're planning on a future, and keep in mind everyone that you meet is a potential marriage partner. I mean, everyone you meet, they're a potential marriage partner. That may not be the one, but for you to go out with them says that you're interested in them, says that you are attracted to them in some kind of way, or you know, something drew you to them, that you're willing to take your time and go out to dinner with them, go to the movie with them, or interact with them. It's something about them. It could be their looks, their muscles, you know. I don't know, okay? It could be, you know, the hair that she wears. It could be her shape, how she's built. She's a brick house, you know, something like that. So, but something is drawing you to her or him. And so in the discussion, you got to make sure you guys can mesh together, grow together, develop together. But if it's toxic, run. If it's toxic, get going. Because if you see the signs early, don't stay in a relationship and you see the signs early. That's why you ask the right questions, so that you know things that are going to work and you can move on and not waste your time. Time is too valuable, and you don't want to waste time. Bradella?
Okay, again, with that type of a relationship where they don't do anything, that's where friends come in. That's where you should know they're friends, or you're all friends. And just ask one of the friends, hey, what do they do? And if they tell you straight, they don't do anything, they don't, then you can make a decision that this is not going to go anywhere because I'm just too active. Because what can happen is your activity can be a danger to them, because now they do nothing and they want you to stay home and strip you of all of your worth.
That's right.
And you do not want that.
That's
so
right.
It's important up front. Don't wait until you've been dating 6 months to try and break out. You can get out. You're adults. So as adults, you should know how to get out of that thing before you get too tied into it. We're just friends. I just went out on a date with you. What makes you think we're getting married tomorrow? Now that may have happened to us, but most people, you're gonna date almost a year. So in those first few weeks is when you'll know.
That's right. Wonderful.
Okay. Right.
Well, listen, we are out of time. We're going to have to conclude, but here's what I want to say to you, that that person that you're dating at this point, being a potential marriage partner, what you want to do is make sure that you see a future with that person.
Amen.
You have to see a future with them, because just to waste time and waste your time, those who are calling in right now, we want to thank you for calling in to Dr. Randall and Berdella Hall Walker. We're just thrilled about you calling in and being a part. The phones are ringing right now. We thank you so much, but we got to get ready and go and close out. But I want to say this in my final remarks. I want to say to you that marriage is honorable in the sight of God, and that if you're dating someone and you see a future there and you know it's God, I want to encourage you to marry, but marry with a super glue. Stick to it. Don't get married and jump out of this relationship into another and marry time after time. Find the right person and let God send that person to you that you know that they came from heaven. Heaven sent them down for you. You know, heaven must have sent you from above. You know, you want that type of romance in your relationship. You want a happy marriage. So when you're dating, see yourself with that person, longevity. And if you don't see yourself with them, don't waste their time and don't waste yours.
Very good.
Again, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker. This is my awesome co-host, Dr. Berdella Hall Walker. We got to go. Thank you for joining us and watching Journey to Greatness broadcast with Dr. Randall and Berdella Hall Walker, Marriage Today. We say we love you and we wish God's very best to you. Hi, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker. What a joy it is to come to you by way of television and share with you Journey to Greatness broadcast. If we're being a blessing to you, would you be so kind to consider going to our website, FWC Charlotte, and consider giving a generous gift so we can continue the ministry. We're touching lives around the world, and you can partner with us and help us make a difference. Thank you so very much for your support, and wish God's very best to you. This is awesome. This is extraordinary. This is amazing. Thank you for tuning in to Journey to Greatness broadcast with Dr. Randall and Dr. Berdella Hall Walker now.
Hello there. How
Why don't
are
you give it up for my awesome, extraordinary wife?
Thank you.
Come on, y'all can do better than that.
Thank you.
Listen, we have a show prepared for you. This is part two of the awesome show last week. How many enjoyed last week?
Yeah,
it was great.
It was great.
We dealt with the top 10. You know, we got the top 10 baseball players, the top 10 basketball players, the top 10 hits, the top 10 athletes. I mean, top 10 everything. Well, we dealt with the top 10. Well, actually, we only dealt with 5 of them.
Yes.
And we're going to deal with the other 5 today. But last week, we dealt with 5, and we're going to deal with the other 5 today. But we're going to deal with the top 10 questions to ask on your first date. Isn't that something?
Yes.
And listen, we've been married over 34 years. We've been married over 34 years. So we think we qualify for a little bit of education on marriage, but then before marriage, it has to have a beginning.
That's right.
And the beginning comes that meet and greet. So we're talking about the meet and greet when you first meet that individual, and some of the questions that you need to ask them, because so often we think just having the right answers. That's the key. If I just have the right answers. No, it's not having the right answers. It's asking the right questions. You have to ask the right questions on the first date, because so often you meet a person, you fall in love with them, you marry them, and you say, well, I should have asked them some questions, because, man, I don't know if this is going to work.
Wow.
I don't know if I connected to the right one.
Wow.
I don't know if I got my emotions involved, and all of a sudden I'm hoodwinked, bamboozled, and tricked,
wow.
and I'm stuck like Chuck, no disrespect to Chuck, and now I want out of this relationship. I wish I had never married, because what? You didn't ask the right questions. And so what today is, we're going to help you with that. But I'm going to recap. We got about 28 minutes. So we're going to have to go quickly. But I'm going to recap from last week for those who didn't join us, and for you who were watching us last week. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for just sharing with us what a blessing we are to your life. We appreciate that so very much. Want to encourage you, if we're being a blessing, go to our website, FWC Charlotte, and click on Give, and make a generous gift so we can continue coming to you by way of television and share with you Journey to Greatness broadcast. So we love and appreciate you so very much. But I'm excited, ignited, enthused, and infused. Yes. Wonderful. My studio audience, they are so alive. I'm telling you, oh yeah, they are just electrified. That is so great. Awesome.
That's
to
wonderful.
God be the glory. Well, listen, let's dive right on in here. The first question, then, this is like a survey. How many watch Family Feud? You know about surveys?
love it.
Okay, yes, my wife loves. Well, Steve Harvey does a great job. We're going to get him on our show one day. We're going to have
right.
Steve. Yes, we're going to do
Speak that.
Yes, absolutely. But here's what we dealt with last week. Here is on our survey that we asked individuals, what would you ask your first date individual that you go out to dinner with, or you go to lunch with on your first date, or you go to the movies, or wherever you might go. Or after the scene is right and you're sitting down and you're meet and greet and you're wanting to get to know each other, what would be some of the first things you should talk about? Well, here's the first one that was brought to us. To ask them, how many sexual partners have you been involved with? Wow, that was the first one. And we elaborated on it last week, so we can't do a lot of elaboration on it this week. But to ask them about that, you know, because what if they've been with Tom, Dick, and Harry? You find out, wow, they've been with cousin, they've been with Uncle Ben. And, you know, they've been, you know, and they've been, you know, with your brother or your sister. And you didn't know about it. These are things you need to know. And they you get married
Real
to them,
issues.
and then come to find out, man, your brother had her, or you know. But anyway, these are things that real issues, okay. And then you wonder why things went sour. You didn't ask the right question. Number 2, have you been HIV tested? Ask them. Have you checked yourself out? Because we're getting ready to look like this thing is promising, maybe, and we look like we're going to move forward. And next thing I know, you're going to be dying in 6 months. Yeah. No, I'm just being, you know, I'm just being a little, but anyway, you know, you don't want to go into a relationship when the person's dying, okay? Just face it. You know, as a matter of fact, I had to counsel with a lady one time, and I had to tell her that she ended up marrying the guy anyway. But I encouraged her not to marry. You know, she said she was in love with him, but he had HIV, and I said, well, you know, you got to count the costs here. I said, my recommendation is that, you know, you don't want to expose yourself to that. But she ended up marrying him anyway, against counsel. I don't know whatever happened after that, but that was my counsel. Person has HIV. I mean, why play Russian roulette, you know, to me.
Well,
you know.
today, it's thank God there's medicine now to help that.
Yeah, that's true.
So today is much better than it was back then.
Right, yeah, I'm
then
going back.
You were definitely exposed.
Yeah, I'm going back when it first hit the market. I thought that was funny. Then the third one is there any mental illness in your family? To ask them, is there any mental illness? Are they cuckoo? I just thought that was funny. No, I'm just teasing. Y'all know I'm having fun. I love this show, Journey to Greatness. I'm done. and I'm gonna be serious. I mean, I'm gonna be serious. But really, you need to know these things. You know, and see, here's the thing that we touched on last time, is that it may skipped over him or her, but the history of their, the mama, the daddy, the great-grandfather, the great-great history, and then when it came to that person that you met, it skipped over them. But here's the problem, it may not skip over your kids.
That's true.
It may catch them. So you want to ask them, do they have a history of mental illness in their family? Because, you marry them, and then next thing you know, you give birth to a child that's mentally ill, and you just didn't ask the right question. But that's, do they have any medicine to help that today?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so just as long as,
Definitely.
okay.
Well, once they're diagnosed, yes.
Okay, well, that's good. We just want to make sure, because we're trying to look out for you. That's what this show is about, looking out for you to prepare you for your greatness. That's why it's Journey to Greatness, okay? Because you want to be you want to be an awesome, extraordinary, powerful individual, and we want to see your life thrive and strive, and we want to see you live life powerfully, live life on purpose, live life intentional, and live life to its fullness, whole and complete. That's what this show is all about. And then the fourth one, have you been married before? You need to ask them if they've been married before, because if they've been married before, quite naturally something went wrong. And if something went wrong, there's some baggage there that they may still be holding on to and taking into the relationship, and you just camouflage, because when we go out on our first date, we put on the best front. I mean, we grinning, smiling, and just, we putting our best foot forward because we want to be impressive. But at the same time, behind that smile, no telling what's behind the smile, you see, because that person could be hurting and still going through. They could have resentment, they could have bitterness, they could have anger, they could have been a spouse abuser, they could have been cruel, and they never, and it only comes out at night, and you don't see it, okay?
You know what?
Yes.
Audience, I love this show. It is so unedited, and he just comes right out with everything.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Hey, but I want to help my viewers, because so often, often, they don't examine these things.
In other words, you're saying that when we go out on dates, we're usually just plastic. We're not,
for sure.
We're putting on a front.
Absolutely.
And trying to impress, but there's so many red flags that may be coming up.
Right.
And then those questions are there. There's certain things that are going on even while you're sitting, the body language. We don't talk about that much.
That's good.
But there's body language, there's facial expressions, there's things that are going on while you're sitting across that table with the other person that is raising a flag.
Right.
And you're like, you're not saying it verbally, but in your mind you're saying, I see something, but what we do is we dismiss it because he spent $200 on me that night and it was great, and so I know this man got some money, so I'm going out again. But you're missing all of the components of the red flags that are coming up, and that's why these questions are inevitable and need to be presented in some way. Now, that first one that you came up with, that is not the first question anybody will ask anybody.
Why not? I mean, if you...
What was that first question again?
Okay, how many sexual partners have you been involved with?
I don't think... The only way that...
Before the night's over, you better ask them.
It depends on the direction that he wants to go. If he wants, if he's saying, or she, well, you want to come back to my apartment, then quite naturally, that's coming up, because now you're just too active on your first date.
Listen, be upfront. Be upfront. See, that's the problem. Right there. I'm so glad my wife brought that out. We sometimes want to hide things, sweep it under the rug, don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And then they turn around and hurt your feelings later on, when you could have hurt their feelings up in front and you would have known everything. Okay? So I'm going to encourage you, ask the question. Do not be afraid to ask questions, okay? Please trust me on this one. You will ever thank me. You'll write me and say, thank you, Dr. Randall Hall Walker, because I asked the guy a question and he been with it.
Well.
Okay? You got it? And so,
Yes.
okay? Trust me. All right? I'm trying to be hurt anybody's feelings, but this is a real world. And we deal with real people, and we got to deal with real issues, okay?
And the issues are real. They're more open than they were back when you and I got married. And back when you and I got married in the days of Moses was when we had to, you had to get a blood test.
Right.
And you knew whether or not you were going to be compatible. You knew whether or not
that's a good point.
you should have children. And a lot of times, especially when you come from a large family, unless you go to family reunions, which is a good thing to do, you may not know that that person that you like or date may be related to you.
Come on now. Now you bring it home.
It has happened, and I know personally some people, when we got to certain places and we're seeing that person and that's my relative, but that's, oh my God, we ran into some problems. So when you live in a
Are y'all listening to this? This is so good.
When you live in a small town and everybody knows everybody, and cousin live across the street,
This
and uncle
is
lives over here,
fantastic.
you better know who your family members
That's
are.
right. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Family reunions.
Wow.
That's how we found out, because there was a
Are you all taking notes?
when I was coming up, man, they were so good looking. Good looking. We see them in church and see them here. Then we go to the family reunion, and that's my first and second cousin. You would be so disappointed, but you
That is
knew
so
not
good.
to touch that. That's your blood.
Right.
So when you go to these family functions, then you don't end up into a mess.
And see, you hit on something powerful, because the blood is what's the key. Mixing blood, certain blood should not be mixed together.
That's true.
And when you mix the wrong blood, see, when you have, it's not that God doesn't want us to enjoy sex and different things. He's making the bloodline, keeping the bloodline pure, because when you have sexual intercourse, you transmit blood. And so blood is sacred to God. And so that's what God is trying to do. Not that he don't want us to enjoy sex with individuals, it's the fact that he wants to keep the bloodline pure, because when it's contaminated, then all kind of sin as a result of that, sin produces all types of different sickness and diseases. And so you can't mix those bloods together. You know, like all of us know you can't have sex with your sister. All of us know that you can't have sex with your brother because of the bloodline. It is the bloodline that God is working with. That is so great. Give First Lady Bradella Hall Walker a big. That was wonderful. Awesome.
And not only that, we need to understand when we get involved, and a lot of people don't want to talk about sex, but you want to do it all the time. I just threw that in there. Okay, some of you will catch that next week. But the problem is that when you begin to have sex with your partner, that lasts for 10 years. It has been proven. And so if you've been with one person, that's carrying, and that soul tie, that bloodline carries for 10 years. Now you're with someone else, three, and now you got that one, and you've got this one, and then you got another one. You don't want to be that active, because it's a problem with the blood. It's a problem with the soul tie. It's a problem with your psychological, your emotions. It's a problem. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of people that really need, and not to be so spiritual, but they just need deliverance in that area, because they don't realize what it's doing to their body. They don't realize where it's taking them down the road. When you have multiple sex partners, you have multiple
exchanging
years.
That blood, yeah.
You have multiple years of having that bloodline in your body.
Wow, that is so good. Oh, that is wonderful. Just awesome. Okay, and the fifth one, we dealt with, have you been married before? Did we deal with that one? No? Okay, the fourth one is, have you been married before? To ask them, yes, we did, because...
Yes, we did. I remember that, yes.
We dealt with that. And the fifth one, let me ask you this one, the fifth one, did we deal with this one? What do you like to do in your spare time? We dealt with that last week. because I mentioned the fact that if they say nothing, you know, what do you like to do? Nothing. Where you like to go? Nowhere. Oh, listen, the phones are ringing. People are calling in right now. Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate you. 704-322-8010. Operators are standing by to answer your questions. Feel free to call in. Okay. Number 6. Now we're going to deal. Now we're going to. We recapped of last week, and so now we're going to start with number 6 and go through number 10. And number 6 is, have you had any sexual transmitted disease? To ask them, have you had any STD at all? I mean, that now, because you need to know that, because sometimes it lays dormant and they may have not taken their medicine properly, and sometimes you can kill some of the disease, but some of it is still laying dormant, and it can come alive, okay? And you need to know for sure so that they can get tested again to make sure that they get a clean bill of health. So you have to ask the right questions. You know, don't be afraid to ask the right questions. Don't be afraid to ask them, because this is your future. This is your life. You know, don't just take things for granted. You know, well, everything will be all right. I had sex too, so he had sex. Everybody had sex, so it don't matter. You know, don't take that attitude. Ooh. This is your future. Right. This is your life. That's true. And you got to ask the right questions. And if they've had, the lady have had syphilis, gonorrhea, other sexual transmitted diseases, you need to know that so that you can protect yourself. You may want to have protective sex even though you're married. You know, you may want to have that just in case, you know, just so you can make sure. So that's number 6. Here is number 7. Are you ready? Okay.
I thought I was going to respond.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, great. I want to respond.
Wait a minute. Before she responds, give my awesome wife, Dr. Berdella Hall Walker, a big God bless you.
You know, thank you so much. When you study people, and that's one of my fortes, is to study people, and I love psychology, and I love sociology. I love studying people. And when you're out on your first date, the reason why that question would be important is if, in fact, the two of them are at a place where they know that they're going back to somebody's apartment and sex is going to be involved. And it doesn't matter how hot you get, if I may use that, we're all adults here. It doesn't matter how passionate you have become with this situation of his place or your place or the car or wherever you decided to go. That has to say, wait a minute. Now we're getting ready to get involved unprotected. Different things can happen here. We're either going to produce STD if you already have it, or we're going to produce a baby if I'm not protected, if I don't have all of my wisdom together and knowing good and well that I'm going out and meeting this hunk. I'm talking from a woman's point of view, meeting this hunk, and I think a lot of times, ladies, and don't raise your hand, but I think a lot of times when we do see that hunk out there, it's the first thing that comes to our mind, and since we're unedited, is I wonder what he's like in bed. I wonder what it would be like to be with him, to have my body close to his, again. The smell of his cologne,
running away with me.
I dance with him, and yeah, I mean, and I really believe that women today, that's one of the first questions that come to the woman's mind when you see him, and he's a hunk. You want to say, wow, I wonder. I wonder. And the next thing you know, if you get to them, then now he's interested in you and you're interested in him, but that flag has got to come up. One of you are going to have to be mature enough to say, wait a minute, do we really need to do this, or do we really want to do this, or if we're going to do this, let's ask the question, are you protected?
Well, it's going to be hard at the heat of the moment.
Hey, somebody better
You know,
do
at
something.
the heat of the moment, when that passion,
You better do something before
when that
it starts
passion
simmering.
hits, you know, yeah, I don't know if that, you know, that's why I'm saying on the first date, ask these questions, because in the
Yeah.
heat of the moment, you ain't got time. Okay, in the heat of the moment. You're just not going to think about it, because your emotions are going to override any logic. You all know, come on, don't look at me like that. You know what I'm talking about, okay? Your logic is just thrown out the window. Emotions have taken over. They dominate now. They're controlling. Them hormones are just kicking in, okay? And you can't put brakes on it. You know, that's how a lot of people ended up getting a rape case, because they got so geared.
The no means nothing.
Yeah, no means don't. What does no mean? No means yes. Okay, no. And no means no. But the point is, when the flesh is at an all-time high and is kicked in, you can't ask the questions then. That's why you ask them on the first date.
Yeah.
Fidela?
And that's important too. And I think before you get to that, be mature enough. And again, age plays a big difference in how people handle their emotions. Younger people are very, very, very active because of their curiosity of what this is all about. And then as you get a little older, you become more mellow, you become more sensible.
Right.
And so when you're more sensible, then you will ask the question. Younger ones are not going to ask. They don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that 1 minute of pleasure will turn out to a whole lifetime of misery.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And then they walking around with this disease. I have to tell the next person that I'm with that I've discovered I have HIV, and now I have to take out this medicine, and I've got to be concerned whether I can have a child, or my whole life is wrecked.
Good point.
And so we have to be very careful, even in raising our children, the precautions of sex. And where in our day, our parents didn't talk about it. You couldn't even say the word. You didn't spell it in the house. But as we got older, and I had a child, that was when he got to that age of 12, or even, no, when he was 7, I had bought encyclopedias on the body and let him know who he was. This is the male, this is the female.
And that's good, because that way they don't get it twisted. Because, you know, today parents are not doing that, and they get it twisted. And next thing you know, a boy thinks he's a girl, and a girl thinks she's a boy. And if that was dealt with in the early part, then they wouldn't have those issues. You know, one of the things that I encourage individuals is, and that is parents also, I encourage them to ask the question, you know, to their, when do you think that you should start dating? When do you think you should go out with a date? When I'm 16.
Age
you know,
has no, it's not about age.
When I'm 18. Oh, I'm ready to go now. No, you are ready to go out on a date when you learn and know the danger of dating. That's when you're ready to go out and date. When you as an individual learn the danger of being prepared for the heated moment, prepared for that being caught off guard, and being prepared for that pressure put on you from that girl that's just coming after you, and that girl just saying, I'm gonna have you, I'm gonna have you, and you saying, no, 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 and boom, and next thing you know, you done got trapped.
And that first kiss, that girl, this may end up into part 3, but but that first kiss that girl gets, she's so mesmerized by it. It just takes her into a place where, and then that's when things begin to get heated. If it was just a kiss for the day, and then now they're coming back, and she'll always remember that first kiss.
Yes.
And it just leads to all sorts of things. I pray for parents and children to be so close that the daughter can tell mommy, Sam kissed me today. Mom, don't beat her. Don't beat her. Just talk to her and find out what happened and how did you feel about it. I remember laying in bed with my goddaughter, and we would talk about those things, and I shared all that with her, and she thought it was just funny. It was such a giggly thing with her, but she learned the hard way because she didn't listen to me. And her life now is in shambles, and I pray for her a lot, because kids think they know more than you do.
Right.
They forget that you're the parent. They forget that you traveled the same road. You had the same. They don't want to ever see you as a sex partner with anybody, even with dad. They think what you're doing is nasty. But then when they're doing it, this is good because you, Mama, you don't know what this feels like. Mommy knows exactly what it feels like because she had that same first kiss that sent her into a giggle. So, but if children would listen to their parents and parents would be honest and open with them and tell them, look, I felt the same way you did. And make them understand I can equate to where you are right now, but today it's more dangerous than it was then. Yes. Because now they're hiding and they're getting it, they're looking for people on the internet and they're searching them out because why? What is it that you're wanting? And then the next thing you know, we see you splashed on the front page of the news that you've been killed and stabbed 100 times by the guy that you found on the internet because you thought you were going into something. So if we as parents would help our children to face a healthy relationship, and it doesn't always have to be in church because now I'm finding issues there too, but it's just, first of all, finding out who you are. When you know the value of you and your own worth, that will also make a statement to the date that you go on for the first time.
That's beautiful. Wonderful. Well, we're almost out of time, but we're going to go quickly here. Boy, this has been really great. Just great wisdom, great insight. Okay, number what?
8, 7 or 8?
7, I believe it is.
Okay.
Okay, this is a good one as well. How far do you want to take this relationship? To ask them, how far do you want to take this relationship? First date, how far you want to take it? Because they may just want to have sex with you and then that's it. And they tell you, well, just let's see what happens. But they might say, well, you know, I want a future and I can see a future with us. I can see us going somewhere. This first date, you know, you got to get the expectations of a person. What are they expecting from this relationship? Because if you ask the right question, it'll tell you everything that you need to know about that person. How far do you want to take this? How far do you want to go? You know, maybe ask them, you want to have sex now? You know, and see what they say. Just to see what they say. And if they say, yeah, let's do it right now, you say, oh, you're the wrong one. I thought you would say, I want to wait till I get married. You just got trapped.
That's true.
You know, I mean, I'm being facetious here a little bit, but at the same time, I'm trying to make a point how vitally important it is to ask the right questions.
It is.
I'm really trying to, in this show, the 10 top questions to ask on the first date, I'm really trying to show you how important asking questions are. Bradella?
Yes, and I think that's a great question because if I'm going out, let's talk about that hunk again. If I'm going out with this guy and there's something there, I felt the connection, and we have just spent 2-3 hours. We maybe went to a show, went to a movie. Now we're walking downtown and his hand slips over and hold my hand. And we began to just have a great time. Next thing you know, we're 4 or 5 hours of just dating. And he gets me back to my apartment. And even if you want to come in for a cup of coffee, I would invite him. But then when we sit down, now I'm thinking, now we've been together the longest time I've ever been with anyone. How far do you want to take this relationship? Is this just a one-night stand? Is this something that I can enjoy with you tonight and we can both move on? What do you want to do with this relationship? So there has to be, or there should be, an expectation. People say, well, I shouldn't expect anything from you. Well, you spent my money. we enjoyed our time. We spent time together, so there has to be some form of an expectation as to where are we going with this? Are we going somewhere? Or did we just have a good time and we can kiss and say goodbye?
Wow, yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, that's great. Well, listen, we are out of time.
We're out of time.
Listen,
We'll be
I
back.
wanted to finish this today, but it's just no way. You're going to have to join us next week.
Next week, part 3.
Part 3. We thought we could get it done today. The phones are ringing, and we want to encourage you to continue calling in, 704-322-8010, and ask questions and make some comments. If we're being a blessing to you, we want to encourage you to write to us. Write to Journey to Greatness Broadcast, 4732 Old Pineville Road, right in the great city of Charlotte. We're right here in the great city of Charlotte. Want to give a shout out to all of my friends in there in Detroit, Michigan. Hi, Mommy! Wonderful Annie Walker. We just love her so much, and all of the families there. And also in Chi-Town, Chicago. I want to say hello to all of our friends out there, and must give a shout out to the Florida. My wonderful grandkids. So I'm going to have my awesome, extraordinary, my darling, darling baby, my sweet and sexy lady. Ooh, I forgot I'm on Christian television. But listen, I want her to give a shout out to all of our grandkids in the great state of Florida and the Orlando area. Give them a great big shout out.
First of all, to our son David and his wife Nikiba,
Yes.
we love you. And to Brianna, Alyssa, and Nia, we love you there in Florida. All of our cousins, Chelsea, all of it, we just love you so much. God bless.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, studio audience. Give yourselves a big hand. We thank God for you, our wonderful studio audience. Thank you for joining us. We're just so delighted to come to you by way of television and share with you Journey to Greatness broadcast with Dr. Randall Hall Walker and Dr. Bedella Hall Walker. We love you, and we want to say to you, we wish God's very best to you. Hi, I'm Dr. Randall Hall Walker. What a joy it is to come to you by way of television and share with you Journey to Greatness broadcast. If we're being a blessing to you, would you be so kind to consider going to our website, FWC Charlotte, and consider giving a generous gift so we can continue the ministry. We're touching lives around the world, and you can partner with us and help us make a difference. Thank you so very much for your support, and wish God's very best to you. And on this broadcast, it is Marriage Today.
Yes.
And we got an awesome show. As a matter of fact, this is part 3 of our dating. We asked, we did a survey, and we asked some questions about the top 10. You know, it's the top 10 baseball players, top 10 football players, top 10 hits, top 10 hockey players, the top 10 models, just top 10. Everything's top 10.
Yes.
So we got the top 10 questions that you asked on your first date.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, this has been really, the show, part 1 was just extraordinary, part 2 was amazing, and this is part 3. Thank you for joining us today on Journey to Greatness broadcast with Dr. Randall and Bedella Hall Walker. Actually, now, I used to say with Dr. Randall and Bedella Hall Walker. Now I got to say with Dr. Randall Hall Walker and Dr. Bedella Hall Walker. Give it up. Give it up for my darling, darling baby, my sweet and sexy lady. Oh, I forgot I'm on Christian television. Oh, Lord forgive me. But on the serious note, this show is incredible. Do not touch that dial. As a matter of fact, call a friend, call a neighbor, call a co-worker, call somebody and tell them that Dr. Randall and Dr. Bradella Hall Walker is on today. You can watch us on Roku. You can watch us on Facebook Live. You can watch us on all social media.
Yes.
We come to you because we love you and we want you to be aware of some
Yes.
issues and shortcomings and some strategies on making your life have workability. Because we know that so often individuals have difficulties and trouble in life and they just need some encouragement. So this
Yes,
show is
yes.
to encourage you and to inspire you. So as we deal with, I'm going to recap and then we'll deal with the final. This is the final show
Yeah.
of the dating, asking the right questions. Because I often talk about the fact that it's not having all the answers. You know, everybody want to have all the answers. No, you need to ask the right questions.
That's
and
true.
so on this program, we're sharing with you some questions that you should ask on your first date so you can get to know the person, because it's a meet and greet. This is the time where you're going to meet this person, greet this person, and get to know more about them. And sometimes we can just talk, and we don't listen, and we never hear the other person's heartbeat. And next thing you know nothing about the person, but you're infatuated with them, so you want them to marry. They want to marry you. You marry them, then you say, well, I'd have married a monster.
Oh.
Man, because you didn't get the chance to know the person, because you didn't ask the right questions. But
That's
today,
true.
we're going to share with you in our survey that we have done. We asked about 20 people about different questions, and we took out the top 10. We asked about 20 in the survey. Survey says, okay, so the first survey, and when we're asking the questions, we're going to recap quickly because we only have, oh my goodness, this show is only 30 minutes, so we got to rush quickly. The first one is, how many sexual partners have you been involved with? That's the first question that stuck out, that people were saying you need to ask that question. That's a difficult question to ask on the first date, but we encourage you to ask because you want to know what you're getting into.
That's
Bradella?
right. That's right. And it seems to be delicate, but at the same time, in today's world, the way people are so free and liberated in their thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, yes.
You're
have to ask
exactly
that
right.
question.
And you know, we're old school, and so
Yes.
we have learned from some mistakes. And so we're wanting our viewers, those who are watching us by way of television, we want to educate, especially you young people, and to prepare yourself and understand the danger of dating.
Exactly.
That's when you should date, is when you understand how dangerous it is to date. And once you understand the danger, then you can put some protection and some precaution on your life. The second one is, have you been HIV tested? Ask the person, first date, have you been HIV tested? You want to know if they got a clean bill of health. Bradella?
That's the same as I said earlier. People are so liberated in what they do. Sometimes the first mistake they make is their worst, and then now we have to try and cover it up, or you're using medications or whatever. So when you start going out there now, you just need to know. Truth is important.
That's
Even
right.
though it's dangerous to date at certain times, it's still, if you do it right, it could be the most pleasurable time of your life.
That's right. Good, very good. Let's give out my awesome wife. Yes, Bradella Hall Walker, an extraordinary lady. God has really blessed me. We've been married, and this is why we think we're qualified for this show. Is we've been married over 34 years. 34 years. Audience, my audience, y'all should be so excited about. Y'all, they jealous. All right, 34 years. Yeah. And counting. And I tell you what, I can't wait to hit the big 50, the golden years. I'm going to be hard to handle then. Boy, I'm telling you, boy, this has been awesome. Here's number 3. Is there any mental illness in your family? Yeah, to ask them, anybody in your family cuckoo? Yeah.
He's so raw.
You know, anybody in your family, you know, not playing with a full deck? Anybody in your family their elevator doesn't go to the top? You know, these are things that you need to know. Now, here's the point that I want to make, and then I'm going to turn it over because we just recapping. But I want you to get this. You got to know the person that you meet and greet that day and go out with.
Excuse me.
They may have good sense. But if it's in their bloodline, it may have skipped over him or her,
Right.
but your grandkids or your children, it may not skip over if they got a history there of mental illness in the family. That's something you need to know. Don't take the risk. You know, so often we think life is about taking risks, and yes, it is, and I encourage you to. But you don't have to take some unnecessary risks, okay?
Yes.
All right, Bradella?
Yeah, in those cases, if you're just going out on a friendly date, whether your mentor or someone else in your family is, it wouldn't matter. But if you look at this and you think that this may be lasting, then the thing that I would do is to meet your family, go to some of your family events, or you come to some of my. I may have mental in my family, so either way.
I checked it out, trust me.
So
Listen, she came from good stock. Her sister was Spencer Jones' secretary, which I respected my pastor, Spencer Jones in Chicago, and Ruth My Vet was her name. And I respected Ruth. Ruth was a quality woman of God, held in high esteem by me. And when I knew she was connected, you know how the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I just knew. And I had heard some extraordinary things about her and her family. So, I did my investigation. Don't think I was just jumped out there and just grabbed the first thing smoking. No.
Well, thank you. So, yeah.
Okay, and so number 4, and we're moving really quickly here for the sake of time. Ask them, have you been married before? Because there could be a lot of baggage, a lot of issues, a lot of problems in the previous relationship, and they still got them. They brought them into, and if you talk to them long enough, they'll go snap on you or something. You ask them, you might ask them a question, they go zip off on you and everything, and you push the wrong button because they didn't deal with the previous marriage, all the hurt and the baggage and all that they're carrying around now out of hurt and pain for issues and problems that took place in their first 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5th marriage. I don't know, but I'm just saying you got to make sure that they resolve the issue. And if it's their partners, everything's the partner's fault. They did nothing wrong. They did it's all their fault, what they did. Watch it. Because unless they admit some of the things that they did wrong, then they haven't corrected anything. Because
Exactly.
they should have learned something, good, bad, or ugly, in that relationship. So ask them, have they ever been married before? Bradella?
Yes, and even in that, with the baggage that you're talking about, if the person is willing to work with you, because we all have baggage from hurts or whatever our situation might have been, but if you're willing to work with it and you see a positive point in why they divorced, then you can be a part of that. Also, there may be children involved. If I'm single and I don't have children, I have to decide whether or not I want to take care of someone else's child.
That is great.
I may not want to. So
Right.
that is going to be a determining factor. Do I love you? What do I love those children?
So your point is, and this is a good point, is that we need to have part A and B then.
Yes.
We need to have, how many children do you have?
Yeah,
When you ask, have you been married before, do you have any children? So we need to
Yes.
put that in there.
That
Good.
can
That's very
be
good.
a very important or vital factor in my dating you, because if I may love you, but I don't want the extra baggage. I
Right.
don't want the responsibility of your children. So and does that make me wrong? No, it makes me decide who I want in my life. Now, if God says yes and those children are very tiny and they accept me, then yeah, but then when you're talking about the other partner who was there, who's the mother of those children, then that could be a problem, because she could be having them sip from a poison cup every day. Then you come to my house, and now that I'm married to him or dating him, those children will become a nightmare.
Right.
So before
point.
that even happens, I will, even before I want to even meet your children, I have to decide whether or not I want this extra responsibility in my life. And if I don't, then I will be honest and upfront that even if you've been married before and there's no children involved, don't bring any out of the woodwork later. But if there are no children, then we can work through your issues. But if there's children, then I have to decide if that's what I want in my life.
That's very good. That's very good. That is very good. Now, say that there is children, and you want to pursue the relationship. Then you got to consider the fact that you not only marry that person, but you are connected and you marry those children. You marry them, and if you love the spouse, then you can't love the spouse without loving what the spouse is connected to.
Exactly.
So you can't say, well, you know, I love her, but I don't, my stepkids, I can't stand them, you know. Number one, they shouldn't be stepkids. If you marry the family, you should be the father or you should be the mother.
Right.
It should not be
That's
step
true.
anything.
That's
You know, it's a
right.
smack in the face if you say, that's my stepdad, you know, or that's my stepmom. No, that's your mom, that's your dad. And you to love them if you love her or you love him, you should love the whole family.
Right.
You can't side and say, well, that's my dad, I'm gonna love him, but I don't care nothing about his wife.
Right.
You can't do that. But that's another show. But I wanted to throw that in because it's very important that you know that when you connect with that person, you connect with the whole family. Don't
family.
think that you're gonna
Exactly.
marry that person and then, you know, Christmas time, you're not gonna go over for Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving, and holidays and spend some time together. You're gonna see that family, you're gonna interact with them, so it's best to build a good relationship with them.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right? Okay, number 5. Boy, we're doing good. All right. What do you like to do in your spare time? And we talked about that last
did.
week in the spare time, because if they don't want to do anything, they just want to stay home. You know, they just they don't want to go bowling. They don't like to do any sports. They don't like to go to any games. They don't like to go to the movies. They just a couch potato. They just want to stay home and just sit there on the couch in a boring life for you. You got to find out what a person likes to do to see if you can mesh with them, if you can join in with them, if you can connect with them, if you can build a relationship with them. Most of all, if you can have fun together. Because you don't want to meet somebody who's boring. Life is boring. They're miserable. You know, they into themselves. It's me, myself, and I. They ain't studying you. They don't care nothing about what you do or whether you do whatever you do. They don't care. Just go about your business. I'll stay at the house, and you got to go out by yourself. You got to go to the movies by yourself. You got to go shopping by yourself. You got to go everywhere. So you got to ask them, what do they like doing? Because I tell you, when I got married, I didn't like to go shopping. I still don't like to go shopping. But I go shopping now because my wife likes shopping. And so to spend some time with her, I'll go shopping. And so I flipped the script because I want a happy wife. Because a happy wife is a happy life. Somebody ought to get excited.
Yeah, you have to enjoy one another. And first of all, if I were to meet someone who said that they don't do anything or like to do anything, well, my question in my head would be, then why are you even out here with me? When you know what I want to do.
Right.
No, we're not going anywhere with
That's
this.
right.
You'll sit right there and do nothing, and I'm gone.
Wow. That's right.
Simple as that.
Awesome. Wonderful. Number 6, have you had any sexual transmitted disease? Ooh, have you had any STD? Wow. On the first date to ask them, yeah, you want to know because back in the day, you know, syphilis and gonorrhea was prevalent, you know, but now they got some stuff out there. Now, boy, take you out quick, soon. But then they got some, as my wife alluded to on the previous show, that they have medicine and different things that, but who, you know, I don't know if I want to deal with all that. You know, sexual transmitted diseases that's going to take you out and shorten your life. I want to live a long, you know, my grandmother lived almost to be 100, and my mom now is 89. Next year she'll be 90 years old. And I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm getting there. And I'm trying to hit that mark myself. And so I ain't want to diddle and daddle and skip and dip and tip and mess around there and mess my life up, you see. Thank God for the God and being a man of God full of faith and power, and rehearse in my head the failures and the consequences of a moral failure. You know, it's just really great to know that I don't have to fall prey to any type of sexual transmitted disease. It's a good feeling, because I would hate to, mess my life up like that. But that's a question that you should ask them. Have they had any sexual, the phones are ringing, but don't worry about it. Yeah, thank you. Sexual transmitted disease, to ask them that question. Don't be afraid to ask them. Inquiring minds want to know. All right? All right, Bradella?
The thing that I would say, it's really touchy, and sometimes that may not come out on the first date, but it may come out on the first date if you see that they're active. They want to find out who you are. And then that's when the question should be asked. Whether I'm using protection or whether I don't use protection, I still want to know, because now you're still talking about my life.
Right.
You're still talking about whether I want it. To me, it's the same as my wanting to be, or questioning whether I want to be with a man who's been married with children, as opposed to me wanting to be with a man who has had STD or I don't know that I would want that baggage in my life either.
Right.
So, I mean, people may say you sound a bit prejudiced, but no, I'm sounding particular about who I am, because you may have made that mistake in and it is a mistake. You may have done it, and now you have to live with it, but do I have to live with it with you? So some of you may think I'm a little bit hard on that, but those are the choices that you made. So these are the choices that I'm going to make as well for my life.
Right.
You may have $1 million, you may be all that, but if I choose not to be with you because I have to deal with that before I get married, the consequences of what you did,
right,
my answer would be no.
Yes. I'm totally in agreement. To each his own, and we certainly, you have that choice. But as my wife alluded to, and I'm in agreement, I wouldn't subject myself to situations like that. Okay, boy, we're coming along very good. Number 7, how far do you want to take this relationship? Before the night's over, you got to ask that question. How far do you want to take this relationship? Because you want to know if they just want to hit it and go. You want to know if they just up to a good time with you and hasta la vista, baby. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya, and that kind of thing. So you want to make sure that this person has sees something in you. Make sure that they're fond of you, or something is drawing them to you, that they feel like that this is a potential future here. Because if they just out to take you to dinner and a movie and bam, slam, thank you, ma'am, if that's going to be the case, then that's something that you need to know that day. All right, Bradella?
And that's okay if that's what they want to do. It's okay with me if that's what we did. It's my agreement.
Right.
The agreement would be that I liked you tonight, and as I said last week, which some people may think we're a bit raw, I liked what I saw. A lot of women would say, how deep can this go? And yeah, how far do you want to take this? If you say that you only want it for a one-night stand, and I'm in agreement with you, just don't leave anything with me. I could stand a one-night stand and enjoy and smile, go to sleep, and then I'm moving on and do whatever I want to do. I don't think that's the way we ought to go, but if that's your agreement as adults, then agree and move on.
That's very good. Yes, that's wonderful. And like you said, at least be honest and upfront. See, that's the key. Be honest what your expectations are in that relationship. So that's great. Now we're going to conclude the show.
I was going to say, but it could be so that he'd want to come back again.
All
now
right.
What you going to do?
Oh,
what you going to do?
Yeah, and you put it out there. Should have kept your mouth shut.
And everything else.
That's awesome. Okay. All right, now we're going to go to the conclusion of the show, the 3 last final top 10 questions to ask on your first date. Here it is. What do you do for a living? To ask them, what do they do for a living? You know, they may be a mortician, and you may not like the fact of hearing all the stories about, you know, the dead. You know, you may be, that could be spooky to you. And they got to come home and discuss, you know, how they handle this dead body and different things like that. And that may not be something, a mortician may not be something that you want to connect to. Or they may be, say, maybe occupation like
Construction.
construction.
Businessman.
Okay,
Banker.
so they're a construction worker. You may not like that because they come in dirty, you know, and everything. You want a man that comes home sharp, you know, with looking good with his three-piece suit on,
yeah.
business type of guy, and he comes in with these overalls, dirty boots, you know, and smelling and everything, and then he hugs you and you go, you know, so these are things you got to know what they do for a living. Yeah, you got to know what do they do for a living, and what is their profession? What are they up to? What difference are they making in the world? What are they out to accomplish? You know, you got to ask those questions about them. What do you do for a living? You know, they might be a drug dealer. You know, you might need to know that the police gonna kick your door in and take you to jail for possession of narcotics because he's a drug dealer or she's a drug dealer. Or she might be a prostitute, you know, and she might be out, that's what she do, that's her occupation. And she hits the street at night. Or during the day, she's nice mom, you know, good to the kids and take good care of them. And then say, honey, it's time for me to go to work, you know. And then she hits the streets, you know. And then but you don't know that. You didn't know that when y'all got together because you didn't ask her. All you knew is that she was beautiful and
She worked nights.
Yeah, she works nights, right. The night shift. Okay? So you need to ask them the right questions, and the right question is, what do you do for a living? And they tell you, I'm a drug dealer. I'm a prostitute, you know.
Again, that should be one of the first conversations, a casual conversation that you should have. If we're gonna, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Because I wanna, if I know your friends, I'm gonna find that out before we even go out.
See, but you're an investigator.
Because I wanna know. I mean, if I know you're a construction worker, you know what? Some of you probably, again, thinking I'm just so crass, but I'm not. I mean, we have the right to select, because you're talking about your future. You're talking about your destiny and who you want to walk with you. So if you can make that choice, you have a right. Most of us, not most of us, a lot of people settle for less. And then they go around complaining. Now you've got this construction worker. Nothing's wrong with him. He makes good money. But because he comes home dirty, then you're upset because he stinks and he's putting mud in the house. Then what you should do, because he makes good money, why don't you add something to the house like a mud room or something to help fix that up so that you don't have to be complaining about where he is.
Right.
If that's not what you wanted, that's not what you should have married.
Yeah.
So that's not what you should be.
You asked the question, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Ask the right questions.
Ask the right questions.
Ask the right questions.
Then you can select.
And then you can make some adjustments, like you're saying. That's very good.
Right.
So that's all we're saying in this show, to ask the right questions. That's all we're trying to do. Because some people just assume things. And they just assume, and then they get their feelings hurt when they find out the real deal.
Right.
Haven't you sometime assumed? And when you found out, you go, oh my God, I assumed.
Exactly.
And we all have been there. So what we're encouraging you to do is ask the right questions.
Exactly.
Okay, number 9. Have you ever dated outside your race? You know, you want to find out where a person is, with people. You know, some people are racist. You know, some people don't like anyone outside their race. They're prejudiced. They don't like white people. Some people don't like black people. Some people don't like Indian people. I hear a lot of times. Some